I guess I could give you CJ's life story. CJ was born and raised in Canada. She moved into Los Santos to hang out with her cousin Skipper. Skipper was in a mob called Cypress. CJ joined Cypress. It was mentally traumatizing. They lined everybody up and shot a bunch of people beside her. Then she became brainwashed. Then she joined North Cyprus because the mob split into two different mobs. And this smaller mob was now just actually basically like a group of people, not a gang, but kind of a gang. And they were very good friends and everybody liked each other and it was going very well. And then there was this game show called Survival that was hosted by Andy Jones. And during that, everything fell apart because one of the members got made underboss of the mob while we were gone. And everybody shot each other and it descended into madness. And then the leader, Lang, of this Cypress mob had to go back and kill a bunch of people he was really close with that were in North Cyprus because they shot this person that he made underboss. And then Lang basically admitted to a bunch of crimes and went into house arrest. And CJ at the time was being told and brought into a terrorist organization that he was in called Talon. And so then CJ went a bit crazy because the person who was leading her, this terrorist organization who was training her to cut out all her friends and be ready to kill them at any moment, was then just off the map. And at the same time, a terrorist group called the Faceless was terrorizing her. And basically, she was trying to do missions against the Faceless and alone, and she wasn't ready to do any of that. And then, after that, he got out of house arrest. And actually, what even happened after he got out of house arrest? I don't know, but we started a gambling business called Blarney's, and then CJ went away for a week, and when she came back, everything blew up. Oh yeah, CJ, I guess, also had an internship with the God of Death because she made bad life decisions. And then the God of Death's brother in Pestilence showed up. He's like the God of Pestilence. I don't know, a fucking horseman. And then, all of this was happening while CJ was also going further into Talon stuff, where she was being trained to be a Talon agent. And we did a bunch of missions where we killed a bunch of Faceless people, and then the Faceless became our mortal enemies. And then, she managed to get out of the pestilence and death situation. But, one of the last things was pestilence basically made CJ super sick as she was trying to complete one of her last Talon missions, and said that he would only make her not sick if he talked to her. And so she spoke to him, even though Lang had said not to speak to them. So then Lang like took her keys and basically said, you know, you're no longer a part of any of this. And then everybody got lost in the desert for months, and CJ was alone, crashing out and profiting off of her friend's big death, because she told everybody that her friends and family died and got money from them for sympathy to have a funeral. And then everybody returned from the desert and they were all fucked up, and they moved up to Stab City, where they started a cult named New Babylon. And then New Babylon grew and grew and grew and got larger and crazier, and CJ ended up running it with her cousin Skipper and Lang. And then the police in Babylon had some issues, some tensions rose. The police did some fucked up shit where they came in and shot everybody down illegally. Which then further escalated shit. During all of this, CJ ended up regaining a bunch of Lang's trust and got keys to Brewster's back, and was looking into trying to find Denzel, who she doesn't know personally.
You happen to have anything to drink?
Is that a joke?
Oh,
Who then... She's so lucky I'm in the middle of this story right now, because that's actually psychotic to ask after yesterday. So then Denzel was well, okay, I don't know that he's dead, so let me say is a member of Talon and close to Lang, and the Faceless were sending them CJ and Lang videos of him being tortured on an island, which presumably is this island here. And then this dude named Charlie, okay, would drop off rum cakes and send torture videos with like cake for his birthday in it, and was like a little psycho and little psychotic little psycho, and stole Charlie's name. Anyway, then no, I don't believe it is. After that, Babylon. Okay, CJ left once again for a day, and Babylon fell. The police brought in a bunch of tanks, blew the shit up, shot everybody. Everybody got arrested. The next day, CJ gets back. She says, "What the hell is happening?" She gets a text. "Prison, be ready." She drives to the prison. Everybody's breaking out of prison. Then they all meet up in on the middle of like a mountain in a building, and they're like, "We are now the fucking resistance." So then they started resistance against the government, against the police and shit. And they bomb a bunch of shit. They blow up a bunch of shit. You know, they start a radio broadcast, basically like talking about how corrupt the government is. They put hits out on government officials, and that lasts about 40 days before they all get caught in like one big last grandstand where they blow up the power plant, and then they just blow everything up, and they put hits out on all the police, and yada 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 yada. Okay? So then they're all in prison. Well, in prison, everybody that CJ and Lang and Skipper and even Queenie had been friends with and had been working through all these like things with for over a year, decided that they wanted to now work with the Faceless. And anybody that didn't work with the Faceless was deemed an enemy and became their slaves. And they would take these people, these slaves, and have them tortured, have them walk into mines and blown up, cut off their hands, all this and blah 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 blah. So basically they just lost their damn minds. And CJ would not like refuse to join that group. Now, a lot of these people, CJ, through her training with Talon, didn't give a fuck about, because she is, for the most part, quite apathetic towards other humans. However, she made one friend, named Nancy, and that happened over the course of a long while, and it was very like, I'm hesitant to do this, but you know, all that dramatic cliche shit. And then Nancy stabbed her in the back, and not only voted for Lang to have his hand cut off, watched her walk into a mine, watched her get tortured, but also then knew that these people were gonna Molotov her and the rest of her friends after Cleveland fell. So just like, what the fuck? Then, one day, while they're still in the prison after all of this happens, same girl, Nancy, comes up and was like, "Yo, you've got like 5 seconds. The Faceless are gonna come in here and take you guys. You can either go willingly, or you can not go willingly, and they'll kill everyone." And CJ at the time was being a little bit petty. She's like, "All right, kill everyone then." And then Nancy got on the phone and was like, "They'll go willingly." And CJ was like, "That's not what I said." And then the Faceless flew in, and as they flew in, all the other Cleveland people started shooting out their helicopters, and CJ's like, "What the heck is going on?" And then I think the Faceless showed up, and they're like, "Fine, you want to shoot at us?" And then they carpet bombed everybody. And then they picked up CJ, Skipper, Queenie, Nancy, brought them to this island where they're now held as prisoners here to build things for the Faceless and be tortured, and test bombs. And they're essentially prisoners to CJ's greatest enemy. And she's also here with either the people she cares about most to be tortured, or she's here with the one person. with the one person that she actually cared about for 1 second of her life, who then stabbed her in the back. Ah, and that's where we are now.